Hello folks, welcome to the Edupedia world and I am Abhinay Gupta. Today we'll start with a fresh new topic, and this is a very interesting and important topic too for your course and curriculum. Director, yes it is. When you start your corporate and allied law, you go by the weightage of the chapter. That is what you flip through. You flip through the size of the chapter, and then you come to know and understand and realize that director is the largest chapter in your entire curriculum, right, in your entire corporate law. But even if you go by the weightage part, if you flip through your scores that you have, the weightage that it carried in your previous examinations, it has varied from 30 to 40 marks. So although it is huge, it is important as well. So today we'll start the appointment and qualification of directors. This is the first chapter of the 3 chapters of director that you have for your course, right? My dear friends, this is not a difficult chapter. This is not a chapter to be picked up at the end of your course. This is the most important chapter of your examination. This is the chapter that can decide your marks, that can decide your qualification. If you get this right, you have the passing marks. If you get it 40 marks in your examination and you get it right all, you pass, right? Only one chapter director carries you through that deadline. It is an important chapter, and if you do not concentrate on this chapter, if you take it very lightly and you don't understand this chapter, if you're not able to answer it in your examination, some people even decide to leave this chapter because of its length. That could be very fatal for you, because then you have the entire corporate law, entire allied law, apart from director, that you have to attempt and you have to score. So choose the rest of the syllabus or director if you have to choose. But since your corporate and allied law is a very easy subject, right, it is an easy subject. What is difficult is writing the answers in the appropriate manner as the institute wants. When you sit down for your examination, you will know 90% of the answers. You'll know, yeah, this is the provision, this is right, this is wrong, this is what the case is. Hey, the case is solved. And you will write them and you will expect very good marks, but you don't score. The reason behind it is how to write the answers is a mystery for the students, right? So during our lecture, I'll even teach you how to write the answers. What is it that the institute expect out of you? What is it that the institute expect out of its qualified chartered accountants? What professionalism, right? What is the quality of the answer that it wants? That we'll discuss during the flow of the lecture, right? So my dear friends, tie your shoe knots, buckle your belts. This is gonna be an important chapter for you. So be with me, holding hands throughout this long roller coaster ride, and I promise you, you will be safe and you will be very confident at the end. So the first thing that we'll be starting when we start the director, you know that director is divided into 3 different topics, 3 different chapters, and the first one of it is the appointment and qualification of directors. So when we have a target to achieve, when we have something to understand, the first thing that we need to do is the planning. Plan your work and work your plan. That is what it is, right? So in this lecture today, we'll see and understand what is it that we will be covering in this chapter. Like at the end of the chapter, what is it that we learn? What is the takeaway, right? So the first thing is we'll understand what a company is. Right? We know it is a corporate legal entity. So we'll understand its form. We'll understand the need for directors in that company. Why do a company need a director? Why can't it run by itself? And then when we know that, yeah, we need a director in the company, we'll understand the meaning of the difference between the executive and the non-executive directors. Because executive directors are the directors who are in the whole-time employment of the company. They will be with the company throughout. They are employed, they are paid on the daily basis, right? on their attendance. And non-executive directors are some experts who are hired by the company from time to time for some specific task. They are not into the entire management. They do not draft your policies, right? Then we'll read about the qualification and disqualification of directors. And mind you, in section 164, it does not talk about the qualifications you need, but it negatively stipulates the eligibility requirement for becoming a director by providing certain disqualifications. So we'll be understanding the various disqualifications, which when attracted, you will not be allowed to continue as a director, right? And then we will understand the number of directors, the maximum and the minimum number of directors that a company can have, and also the maximum number of directorship for any particular person. Then after covering this aspect, we'll move ahead. We'll move ahead to the appointment part, right? We'll see that a director, any person can be a director, but before that he needs to obtain a DIN, which is a Director Identification Number, where it is issued by the government, by the MCA, and you can have only one DIN for your life, right? And we'll understand the procedure for application and distribution of DIN, and what do you do with the DIN, right? Then we'll go ahead and understand the other provisions for appointment, the basic requirements, right? And then the right to stand for directorship. Any person holding the DIN has the right to stand for directorship, and we'll see how and what are the procedures if any external person, a person not into the board and not into the company, wants to stand for the directorship of a company. What are the procedures for that too, right? If you want to go and stand for a directorship of any company, we'll tell you the procedures that you need to follow to raise yourself as a candidate for the election, right? Then you have the independent voting. Each director will be voted independently. There will be no clubbing. We cannot go ahead and say, yeah, Mr. X, Y, and Z, we are voting for X, Y, and Z. So do you say yes, do you say no? And if you say yes, all three, X, Y, and Z are selected as director. And if you say no, X, Y, and Z, all the three are rejected. You have no option of choosing X or Y or Z, right? So it is very important that in all the election of directors, each one of them will be voted independently, right? And then we'll understand the concept of proportional representation also. And then we'll understand the appointment of a woman director, a resident director, and an independent director into the company. And also the appointment by the central government. The central government also has the authority to appoint a director into the company. So when we go to the appointment part, right, we'll see in detail the entire appointment, the requirements, the procedure, right, the various kinds of director that a company needs, the various procedures and the various other entities that can appoint a director into the company. And if any external person wants to be a director, its procedure and everything. So everything will be covered in detail, right? We'll understand the entire procedure, entire life cycle of a director before appointment and during appointment and up till when he is appointed, right? Then to continue, we'll understand what an additional director is and who is an alternate director. By the name you understand that additional director is a director who joins the company in addition to the other directors. An alternate director joins a company in a replacement of any other director, right? Then you have the concept of casual vacancy, which arises on resignation, right, or on death, whatever, right? It is for the time when the office of a director remains vacant. Then we'll understand the concept of the small shareholder directors, right? This is a very peculiar thing, and any person can be a small shareholder director in maximum 2 companies at a time, right? Not more than that. Then we'll understand what is rotational director and how many directors have to be rotational, how many are non-rotational, out of rotational, how many have to retire, and what are the procedures, right? We'll see that. We'll understand the non-rotational directors too. Then we'll see about the retirement of directors, the vacation of their office, the various causes and the reason, right, that could lead to the vacation of the office of a director. We'll also see what happens when a director resigns, what is the procedure for his resignation, right? And then we will also understand that a director can also be removed Apart from its retirement, vacation and resignation, it can also be removed by the shareholders, by the central government or the company law board. These people also have the power to remove a director from his directorship. And then we'll also understand the registrar of director and the key managerial person, the legal requirement of maintaining such a registrar, such a register. Why do we maintain it? What is the content, right? And what are the legal provisions behind it? So by the end of the chapter, by the end of the appointment and qualification of director, this is what each one of you should understand and realize. You need to know the entire procedure, all the qualifications, disqualifications, all the provisions, right? All the various kinds of directors and stuff. So this is what should be very clear, crystal clear with you, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Right? So when this is clear, you have been through half of the director, because one of the chapters in director contains the provisions for the board meeting. So over here you understand the life cycle of a director from appointment to removal, everything, right? So we'll keep our lecture limited to this today, right? And we'll continue with the provisions, other provisions, and in detail we'll touch all the topics in detail in our continuing lectures. So until then, stay tuned. This is Abhinay Gupta signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.